Creation code 6.01. The number 6 is man's number. The letter F. That's why they say F you, F this, F that. That's why people are making babies. Man's number. The number 6 is also the cube. 6 sides to a cube, right? So the cube is the 6-sided die. The 6-sided die. Man's going back to the grave. Mankind is going back to the grave. Man builds a cube. Man built a cube when he fell. He fell down into the cube. You reap what you sow in the cube, right? Look at all the cube games out there. Look at all the cube apartments, cube houses, cube cars, cubicles, cube workspaces. The cube. Welcome to the cube. Amazon ships all their packages through a box, which is a cube. The box, a 6-sided cube. The cube is actually a birthing box. That's why it's got flaps. The cube typifies the womb. 666. The forearm from your elbow to your fingertip is 18 inches. And if you take 18 divided by 3, you get 6 plus 6 plus 6. Cubit. The measure, count up the number of the beast, for this is the number of man. Everybody's trying to use gematria and stuff to count who is the beast. There's many. Who's the Antichrist? There's many Antichrists on the scene, the Bible says. There's always an Antichrist on the scene. And so I'm giving all this information out. This is like gold. I'm giving out gold, but people treat it like it's pennies, like it's worth pennies. But if you could actually see it, I just saw a transfer truck carrying a box on the back. A cargo. Carriage. C-A-R is carriage. Chariot. It's a chariot. So you're in a cube reality and you're being transported. So this box truck beside me, or cube, on the back of it, it says tare weights. T-A-R-E. Tare. Tare is the flesh. This is gold stuff. If somebody came down and gave you some gold, you would take it. But gold for your spirit is worth even more, and people don't even want to hear it. That's what blows your mind. If it looks good, sounds good, they want to hear it. But if it's truthful and it's contrary to their old item, they don't want to hear it. If it's not fun, they don't want to hear it. If all glitter and fun and bells and whistles and merry-go-round and round and around. I mean, if you go to the circus, all you see is stuff going around and around, and games that are designed for you to lose. The cube is the flesh mind. There was a game called The Cube. When they got inside the cube, things looked different. People on the outside, they were laughing because it looked like foolishness on the inside, but the way they did the lights or whatever, the reflections, it confused them. That's what you're in. You're in a cube game. You're in a cube. You're in a smoke and mirror game, repeat, cycle over and over and over and over, a recycle. Now what the devil meant for evil, God turned for good, because God uses it for the birthing process. Night and day, cold and hot, just like an air conditioning system. You try to explain to somebody how an air conditioning system works, and they never spend any time studying it. They check out. It's kind of like calculus. You try to explain to somebody calculus, they check out. If they only know algebra, and some people don't even know algebra, if they don't know anything but algebra or just regular mathematics, and you start talking about calculus, their mind flips out. They can't grasp it because they haven't entered into that new state. They're still in the static state. They're not in the transient state. So when you go from static to transient thinking, just like you go from flesh mind to spirit mind, it's a whole different world. It's a whole different process, a whole different program, it's a whole different reality. It's a meta reality. It's above and beyond. And so when you talk about the etymology going back to source, and you can follow the words back to source and actually see the truth. When you say something like that, it short circuits their mind. They can't hear you because they're still in the flesh mind. So I'm not really doing this for the average person. I'm doing this for people who want to see the truth. The Cube, 666, flesh mind, machine man. Robots, program, Pro-G-RAM. It's God's program, and G is 7, but man is in 6. If man is in the 6 mindset, and God's program is number 7, how do you move from 6 to 7? How do you move from the 666 to the 7? How do you shift your realities? How do you shift from being stupid to being wise? Because the 666 flesh mind is stupidity. It's contrary. It's counterintuitive. The spirit mind is counterintuitive to the flesh mind. I got this flesh creature on the highway. I'm doing 70, and she's trying to tailgate me because she thinks she's better than me. She thinks she's better than me. She thinks she's smarter than me. She thinks she deserves to this lane, and I don't deserve it. She thinks she's smarter than me. She thinks she's smarter than me. She thinks she's big and bad. She's doing 80. When she gets in a wreck, then she's going to be crying. Say, it's their fault. It's their fault. That's the flesh mind. It's somebody else's fault. Oh no. I'm in trouble, but I caused my own fault, but I got to blame somebody else. That's the flesh mind. The flesh mind is guilty, but it wants to project it to somebody else. It wants to blame game. The flesh mind wants to blame everybody else, but never looks at themselves. The flesh mind wants to be lazy. The flesh mind wants to be greedy. The flesh mind wants to be selfish. The flesh mind thinks that they're in this thing by themselves, that nothing's connected to anything else, that they're their own God. They really believe their own God. The flesh mind thinks they're God. You actually see them on TikTok and all that. They put on this skimpy outfit, and they actually think they got something somebody else don't have. Look at them. Look at my shape. Look at me. You think you got something that this woman over here don't have? Eve represents the flesh. Eve is a piece cut off. She represents the flesh side of Adam. And she's being cut back in, but her pride is so high up, she won't listen to nobody. When Jesus said, be not bitter against your wives, there's a reason. Because she thinks she knows when she doesn't know. It's the flesh mind. It's counterintuitive. Now the born-again women, they know. The born-again men, they know. They know. They know. They might not be able to explain it, but they know. The older generation uses the younger's pride and ego. So it's not true. It's not only true for the women, the unsaved women who think they got something when they ain't got nothing. It's true for the men. They're over there fighting. Mike Tyson got dropped down, didn't he? He bit somebody's ear. He got humbled. Humble pie. Humble pie. But some people never get humbled, and they keep going around the mountain and around the mountain and around the mountain. The narcissist is a flesh creature. The narcissist and the psychopath and the sociopath, they're flesh creatures. There's a lot of preachers that are narcissists. There's a lot of leaders and so-called gods that are narcissistic. They think they got something when they ain't got nothing. They're teaching on one subject, but they don't see the whole pie. They only see their little piece, and they end up worshiping their own little piece of the pie. Why do you think they call it a piece? Why do you think they call the woman in the vulgar the piece? A piece. The vulgar, they'll say, go get a piece. Why do you want a piece? Why not the whole pie? And then when they get married, they think the grass is greener on the other side. And the reality is it's a fractal hologram, and everybody's going through the same thing. There's a new movie out. What's it called? Everywhere. All the time, something like that. It just came out Friday. Everywhere, all the time, something like that. And if you watch that movie, it's revealing the whole truth. And then at the very end, like I say, you don't have to go on the internet. You don't have to go anywhere. You've got it right where you're at. Everything that you think that you need that's out there somewhere, you already got it where you're at. The whole truth's right where you're at. You don't need to go outside to find the truth. You don't need to go across seas. You don't need to go. It's right in front of you. It's right beside you. It's right in you. It's in you. It's in you. It's outside. The truth is everywhere. But the pride of man thinks he's going to come up with something new. There's nothing new under the sun. All these inventors, they thought they came up with something new, and then it became routine. Then they turned it into a business, and then it became a money-making machine. It's all money. It's all about the money. Down here, mammon. Yeah, it's all right to celebrate some new technology, but what happens? It turns into money. It turns into mammon. This is video 1 of about 6 in this, the creation code number 6. I'm gonna throw it out there. Some people get it, some people never get it.